Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, continuation of the topic the yoga and its object, taken from the collective works of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, SABCL, the Supramental Manifestation, page 460. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the third process of the yoga is to perceive all things as God. First, as a rule, in the process of knowledge, one comes to see, pervading all space and time, one divine impersonal existence, Sadatman, without movement, distinction or feature, in which all names and forms seem to stand with a very doubtful or a very minor reality. In this realization, the one may seem to be the one reality and everything else Maya, a purposeless and inexplicable illusion. But afterwards, if you do not stop short and limit yourself by the impersonal realization, you will come to see the same Atman not only containing and supporting all created things, but informing and filling them, and eventually you will be able to understand that even the names and forms are Brahman. You will then be able to live more and more in the knowledge which the Upanishads and the Gita holds up as the rule of life. You will see the self in all existing things and all existing things in the self. You will be aware of all things as Brahman. But the crowning realization of this yoga is when you become aware of the whole world as the expression, play or Leela of an infinite divine personality, when you see in all not the impersonal Sad Atman, which is the basis of manifest existence, although you do not lose that knowledge, but Sri Krishna, who at once is basis and transcends all manifest and unmanifest existence. For behind the Sadatman is the silence of the Asat, which the Buddhist nihilists realized as the Sunyam, and beyond that silence is the Paratpara Purusha. It is He who has made this world out of His being and is immanent in and sustains it as the infinite finite Ishvara, Ananta and Shanta, Shiva and Narayana, Sri Krishna the Leela Maya, who draws all of us to Him by His love, compels all of us by His masteries, and places eternal play of joy and strength and beauty in the manifold world. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the world is only a play of His being, knowledge and delight, Sat, Chit and Ananda. Matter itself, you will one day realize, is not material. It is not substance, but a form of consciousness, guṇa, the result of quality of being perceived by sense knowledge. Solidity itself is only a combination of the gunas, samhati and dhruti, cohesion and permanence, a state of conscious being, nothing else. Matter, life, mind, and what is beyond mind, it is all Sri Krishna, the Ananta Guna Brahman, playing in the world as the Sachidananda. When we have this realization, when we dwell in it securely and permanently, all possibilities of grief and sin, fear, delusion, internal strife and pain are driven puissantly from our being. We realize in our experience the truth of the Upanishads. He who possesses the delight of the Brahman has no fear from anything in the world, and that other in the Isha Upanishad. When all created things become one with a man's self, by his getting the knowledge Vijnana, thereafter what bewilderment can he have, or what grief when in all things he sees their oneness? Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the whole world then appears to us in a changed aspect as an ocean of beauty, good, light, bliss, exultant moment on a basis of eternal strength and peace. We see all things as Shubha, Shiva, Mangala, Anandamaya. We become one in soul with all beings, and having steadfastly this experience, are able by contact, by oneness, by the reaching out of love, to communicate it to others so that we become a center of the radiation of this divine state, Brahmistiti, throughout our world. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, it is not only in things animate but in things inanimate also. We must see Narayana, experience Shiva, throw our arms around Shakti. When our eyes that are now blinded by the idea of matter open to the supreme light, we shall find that nothing is inanimate but all contains expressed or unexpressed, involved or evolved, secret or manifest, or in the course of manifestation, not only that state of involved consciousness which we call matter, but also life, mind, knowledge, bliss, divine force and being, prana, manas, vijnana, ananda, chit, sat. In all things, the self-conscious personality of God broods and takes the delight of His gunas. Flowers, fruits, earth, trees, metals, all things have a joy in them of which we become aware because in all Sri Krishna dwells. Having entered into them, not materially or physically because there is no such thing, space and time being only conventions and arrangements of perception, the perspective in God's creative art, but by Chit, the divine awareness in His transcendent being. According as I am appointed by thee, O Hrishikesha, seated in my heart, so I act. When this has entered into our daily life, it is easier to accomplish the second stage and live in the knowledge of the Gita. God stands in the heart of all beings, running round as a wheel by the Maya of the Trigunas, says our Lord. The third stage comes out of the second by full realization of God or of itself by the grace of God. Not only will the Purusha stand apart and be Trigunatita, beyond the Trigunas, but Prakriti, though using the Gunas, will be free from their bondage. Sattva, as we know it, will disappear into pure Prakasha and Jyoti, and the nature will live in pure, free, and infinite self existing illumination. Tamas will disappear, Rajas will disappear, and the nature will be free and infinite ocean of a divine force. On that foundation of calm and in that heaven of light and action will occur as the spontaneous objective expression of God's knowledge, which is one with God's will. This is the condition of infinity, Anantya, in which this struggle of bound and limited sattva, rajas, and tamas is replaced by a mighty harmony of three prakasha, tapas, and sama. And even before you reach that condition, on the way to it, you will find that some mighty force, not your own, not situated in your body, though possessing and occupying it, is thinking for you, feeling for you, acting for you, your very body as well as your mind and heart, moving and moved by that force and not by yourself. You will know that thought, feeling, action, but will neither possess nor be possessed by it. Your actions will disappear without leaving in you mark or trace, as a wave disappears from the surface of the sea, as water falls from the lotus leaf. Your heart, your mind, your body will not be yours but God's. You yourself will be only a center of being, knowledge, and bliss through which God works. This is the condition in which one is utterly given up in all of his conscious being to God, in which this utter fulfillment of the description, one whose state of being is free from egoism and whose understanding receives no stain. This is the surrender of action to which Sri Krishna gives so much of importance. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo continues to say, these then are the processes of the yoga. First, the sankalpa of Atma Samarpana. Second, the standing apart by self knowledge. Third, the vision of God everywhere, in all things, in all happenings. The surrender of the fruits of action and action itself to God, and the freedom thereby from ignorance, from ahankara, from the dvandas, from desire, so that you are Shuddha, Mukta, Siddha, full of Ananda, pure, free, perfect, and blissful in your being. But the processes will be worked out once the Sankalpa is made by God's Shakti, by a mighty process of nature. All that is indispensable on your part is Anumati and Smriti. Anumati is consent. You must give a temporary consent to the moments of yoga. All that happens inside or outside you as a part of circumstances of the sadhana, not exulting at the good, not fretting at the evil, not struggling in your heart to keep the one or get rid of the other, but always keeping in mind giving a permanent assent to that which has to be finally effected. The temporary consent is passive submission to the methods and not positive acceptance of the result. The permanent consent is an anticipatory acceptance of the result, a sort of effortless and desireless exercise of will. It is a constant exercise of the desireless will, an intent aspiration, constant remembrance of the path and its goal, which are the dhruti and utsaha needed, the necessary steadfastness and zeal of sadhaka, vyakulata or excited, passionate eagerness is more intense but less widely powerful, and it is disturbing and exhausting, given intense pleasure and pain in the pursuit, but not so vast a bliss in the acquisition. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, God is one, but he is not bounded by his unity. The goal marked for us is not to speculate about things, but to experience them. The call upon us is to grow into the image of God, to dwell in Him, with Him, and be a channel of His joy and might, and an instrument of His works. Purified from all that is Ashubha, transfigured in soul by His touch, we have to act in the world as dynamos of that divine electricity and send it thrilling and radiating through mankind, so that wherever one of us stands, hundreds around may become full of his light force, full of God, full of Ananda. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the reason for which avatars descend is to raise up man again and again, developing in him a higher and ever higher humanity, a greater and yet greater development of divine being, bringing more and more of heaven again and again upon earth, until our toil is done, our work accomplished, and Sachidananda fulfilled in all, even here, even in this material universe. Small is his work. Even if he succeeds, who labors for his own salvation or for the salvation of a few, infinitely great is his, even if he fail or succeed only partially or for a season, who lives only to bring about peace of soul, joy, purity, perfection among all mankind. So, this is the path we need to tread. Wishes on our Lord Sri Aurobindo's, our Divine's birthday.